Hi, Pastor Casper here. Today we're not learning a hymn. We're actually going to do an unboxing video of a new instrument. Well, not a new instrument, technically a used instrument that I just purchased off of Reverb.com. This is an Eastman MDC804 Mandocello. Just arrived in the mail today. I'm going to crack it open and see how it looks, and maybe try to play a little bit on it also. Ooh. Very nice hard shell case. Really nice hard shell case. Provided by Eastman. The manufacturer makes this. Also very nicely packaged. The man and or store that I bought it from, whose name I will list here, did a wonderful job of packaging and getting this transported. It's a curious thing. So I bought it, and when it came, when it showed up on Reverb as purchased, I bought it on Monday. This is now Friday of the same week. So on Monday I purchased it. Tuesday it showed that it was that the label was already generated, and on the Reverb site it says label generated, shipped, on its way. And they don't actually have a shipping system, but that's what their system says. UPS didn't receive the thing until yesterday, and then it arrived today, so it was on a very rapid transit from Georgia. But it was curious because the whole time the Reverb site says that it's already here, it should be there any time, and they don't actually have shipping information, which shows up through UPS. UPS was accurate. They received it yesterday. As of yesterday, they said it'll be there tomorrow, which is today, Friday, and here it is. Again, like I was saying, very, very nice hard shell case, which comes from the manufacturer. Eastman handcrafted guitars. You can read that on the label right there. That's what they say about their own instruments. Eastman is a Chinese manufacturer. However, this is not the Temu version. Mandocello is an instrument that is, in this case, it's on a guitar body, arched top, arched back, which is an unusual form for a guitar. But like a six-string guitar, it's going to have standard stringing as we'd see it in a guitar. But this instrument, because of its arch back, it's going to have a bridge where the strings ride, and it'll have a slightly elevated position of the neck, which will be either in contact with the body or floating above the body. And this instrument is tuned with 4 courses, unlike a guitar, which is tuned with 6 courses. So in a guitar, you're going to have E, A, G, D, B, E, A, G, D, B, E, 6 courses from bass to treble. And those strings are either individual strings or some pairs of strings. So in the case of a 12-string guitar, you still only have 6 courses, and they're tuned E, A, D, G, B, E. From the top, the E and the B are unison pairs, and from the bass, the E, A, G, and D are octave pairs. And so those strings are still treated as a single course. You still play the pair of strings as if they were one string. In this case, in a Mandocello, which is in the Mandolin family, the Mandocello is the lowest voice of those instruments. It's in the same tuning as a cello relative to a violin. So a Mandocello is tuned C, G, D, A. And again, this one, which has 4 courses, is actually going to have 8 strings. And those will be in octave, not an octave rather, but in unison pairs. So a low C paired up, down below a third below the low string on a guitar. A C, a G, a D, and an A paired together with a pair of strings, still in 4 courses only, and so those 8 strings are played in pairs as if they were only 4 strings. Ooh, that's a beautiful instrument. Goodness. Okay, so we'll look at the details of the instrument in just a second. I also want to take a look at the rest of this beautiful case. My goodness. Very nice case. Very fine, well put together, holds the instrument exactly in its shape and in its form. It's got extra padding to hold the bridge and the saddle in place. This is a really nice piece of equipment. Kudos to Eastman. After I whack it on the piano. So here is the Eastman Mandocello in a kind of a honey burst finish. In photographs online, it looked a little more yellow. This looks a little goldener to my eye. Still a beautiful, beautiful finish. As you can see, it is an arch top instrument, so there's a noticeable radius to the top of the instrument here, and the back also has a significant radius to it. The finish is absolutely beautiful. I'll try to get some close-up images of the various angles of this thing so that you can see a little more closely what those look like. The Eastman branded headstock there, 8 tuners. These are open tuners like you might find on a classical guitar, although of course they're not slotted headstock like on a classical guitar, so different style of tuner. This is very similar to what you find on most mandolins in terms of its tuner setup. This is a much bigger instrument than a mandolin, obviously. The tuning, we'll see how we are as far as intonation goes. So we should be C, G, D, A. Not too bad. That's a C major chord on a Mandocello instrument. No fault of the instrument, that's player skill gap, but overall quite nice. This thing is nice and loud, it's wonderful. It's got some good boominess to it. One of the interesting things about this particular tuning, this is what we would call quintile tuning. So guitars are typically tuned in quartile tuning, so you have fourths from the E to the A to the D to the G, and then there's a third also in there, the B and the A. But that is predominantly fourths tuning. In this mandolin family, in the violin family, your tuning is in fifths, so C to G, G to D, D to A. And that changes your chord forms quite a bit, making certain things more accessible and certain things less accessible. In particular, one of the things that's very interesting is the accessibility of keys that are sometimes difficult to obtain in a standard guitar. So in the case of what I was playing a second ago, that's an A flat major chord, A flat major to F minor, and then we get a D flat, B flat, A flat. Those are a little bit more accessible because of the way the tuning is set up. So the simple form of a major chord on a Mandocello it's a much more movable form of set of chords. So there are some things that are accessible that are easier to do in this instrument. But anyway, overall, very nicely done. Yep, Eastman Mandocello. I can't quite read the year on this, but it's relatively recent. The structure here is an oval hole. So we have an ebony tailpiece, which is actually a brass tailpiece that's got an ebony cover on it. Ebony bridge, where the strings ride above the top of the arch top. The slightly elevated bridge, or fretboard rather, that's hovering over the arch top. This is an oval hole. That's kind of a 1920s, 1930s traditional style of arch top guitars and arch top mandolins and mandocellos, and and mandolas, all the various things in that family. That oval hull is kind of an unusual thing. Nice little rosette around it. Plastic binding all the way around. Again, beautiful. Honey burst finish. All in all, quite good. From Eastman, these instruments are about $3,500 brand new. Unused on Reverb, I got a significantly better price than that. But overall, this is comparable to a much more expensive instrument, so I'm not going to complain one little bit about it. This is easily in the $4,000 to $6,000 range in terms of the quality, the build quality, and the fit and finish. So overall, a very, very nice instrument.